Alright guys, today we're going to be reacting to Rachel Wilson triggers two feminists in denial. Jump in.
Feminism is just equality. That's it. Just women and men being equal.
Do you think it's possible for women to be equal with men? And what do you think equality is?
I do. I think that both genders definitely bring different things to the table,
Sure.
But
What do you mean by equality? What would be an example?
equal pay and stuff. If they have the same jobs and everything, equal pay,
Okay.
Equal rights.
Equal rights. Okay, and then if women have equal rights with men and they have the same opportunities, does that mean they should have the same responsibility? Should you have the same responsibility and authority to go with your rights?
Well, I think any adult should, I don't think it's whether you're a man or a woman. I think if you're an adult, you should have responsibility and for yourself in general as a person.
Wait, Nick, this is hold on.
Okay, so what I wanted to ask is, so you just outlined some rights that you think women should have. Do women have duties?
Yes, they do.
What would be an example of women's duties to society?
Well, if they choose to be a mother, that's one of their duties. But people.
Well, a duty isn't a choice. Those things are mutually exclusive. So is there a duty that women because we know men have duties. Men have a duty to protect, to provide. They have to build all the infrastructure.
Well,
they have to defend the nation. So what are women's
choice? I don't think that's
not really.
Change
Not
the
when there's a draft. Not when there's a draft. And who else is going to build the infrastructure if men don't do it? Nobody.
Well, I just think that men and women could do it. I think there's women in the force.
Are you saying woman or women? Because those are different. Woman is one. Women is more than one.
Well, I'm pronouncing.
That's interesting that they have that problem pronouncing woman and women. I'm wondering if that's in purpose. There's a purpose for that.
I guess differently than you said, but I'm saying women.
She's saying the plural.
Yeah, women in general.
I can't hear the difference with a lot of these younger girls. They say the word the same, so I wasn't sure. So we know men have duties.
Yes.
To provide and protect. If men aren't out keeping the electrical grid up, there's going to be problems, right?
I
have
know
to
it's
do
more
that.
of a man's job, but women can do that job too.
No, they can't.
Yes, they can.
You don't see any women doing
Do you
it.
know?
But they can.
Do you know
They
what
might
it
not
entails
choose
to create,
But you're
make,
telling
and
me
lay
that's
concrete?
impossible for
It
a
is
woman
impossible. They
to
can't
go
do it.
do an
Okay, but there are men
That's
who also
insane.
can't do. There are disabled men. There are really
but
skinny,
the only
weak men.
people who can do it are men.
But there, the thing is, there are plenty of men who aren't doing that. So you could say it's a man's duty, but you can't generalize and say it's all men's duty. Just like you can't generalize and say all women's duty
It's
is to
the
have
duty
children.
of men to provide, protect, and build the nation.
And
They're
lots
the
of
only
them
ones who
can't-
can do it.
And lots of them physically can't.
There are some, but
I
that
would say
doesn't
that
mean
I
that we
see
can't
a lot
generalize.
of men who I don't think would last very
Yes,
long.
I don't see any
front
women
lines.
that would be able to do it. So
Okay,
I can agree with that.
But it doesn't. We can talk about generalizations and outliers. But I'm asking: do women have any duties to society, or is it just she needs to do what makes her happy? She just needs to focus on her
like a
happiness.
mother.
Women
She needs to
produce
be
the
a
next
mother.
generation.
Yeah, that they should, but they're not. Have you guys taken a
But
look
they
at the
are,
birth rate?
because if
have
you
taken a look
can't
at the
say
birth
that, because
rates?
if you say that,
Well, the
the
Mexicans
birth
are.
rates are lower.
Even Mexicans are below replacement now.
But the birth rates are lower, but that's
they've
not
assimilated.
saying that they're
A comedian lady, there's time for jokes, there's times for no jokes. And this is not the right time. She's cooking and you're trying to interrupt her.
not. I agree
They're all
that
westernized.
there's a decline in terms of the value of motherhood, and I personally think that should be something that is valued again. It's a very important role, and there should be no shame in wanting to be a mother. And I think a lot of, as a young woman, you get this, you're kind of torn where you're definitely led on a path of education, and that's important. I mean, education is great, and we are a more privileged generation, so our parents in general had enough money to at least want us to get an education. We got an education, we get a good job, and then you get
wait a
later,
second.
and then now you're in the
is a
career
lot of
world,
woman
and you,
prattle,
well, let
and
me
I'm not
finish
sure
what I'm
where you're
saying. Rach, let me finish. So you have a job, you get your job, and then all of a sudden you're 29, you are 30, 31, 32. Now you have a short time span to get into this relationship, to get married. The guy feels pressure. If you've been on birth control, that's going to make it hard to actually conceive.
Well, whose fault is it? So who put yourself in birth control. You. It's like there's never ending for the accountability aspect. Never.
Because that impacts your fertility. You have to wait for that stuff to wear off. So there are these problems. So I think that the age of responsibility of motherhood has been pushed out, but the problem is that because of like the biological restrictions and limitations on a woman's body, we can't we feel that pressure. And so it's this catch-22, and you want to, and so
wait, I don't think it is a catch-22 though.
Well, but it's either you pursue education and get a career and all that stuff, or you be a mom, and that's a hard. It's hard. It's
actually
decision.
not hard at all, and here's why. Because why are we telling young women to take your most fertile years when you should be having babies and spend that entire decade of your 20s chasing an education which the average woman goes $40,000 into debt to get, and she makes an average of $40,000 a year, which is a terrible deal, right? So we tell them to go to all this college, get into debt to get your degree, and then do the career thing like you just said. And then all of a sudden at 30, flip a switch and try to get at least 2.1 babies out of them. That's stupid, and it's never going to happen. So why do we give young women that advice?
I mean,
and I think 95% of y'all don't have any business being in a university at all.
I mean, it would be great if you could pause, take advantage of your fertile years, right? And then you go into school. But like, you don't need to go to school.
What do women need to go to school for? Have you ever taken a look at what they major in?
Who's gonna spread
Sociology. Right?
political science?
Okay.
Who's gonna
sociology?
who's gonna do this anti-feminist movement if there aren't learned women in the world?
You're a writer.
I will say this.
I didn't go to college. I never went to college. I had my first baby at 20, the way the Lord intended, and
that's beautiful. And you're
You know what? Oh man, I don't like her laugh, bro. Like, oh, she's too streetwise kind of energy.
obviously very intelligent and can speak for herself, and that's
so
awesome.
I don't need a bullshit university degree and a bunch of debt.
But I will say a realistic, just a reality is, it's so expensive now. I mean, live in any city. If you want to be a homeowner,
why do you think college is so expensive?
No, I'm not saying college. I'm saying after college. I'm saying you need a job. You need cost of living. And so
also,
and if you're,
do you know why that's that
because
way?
more people entered the workforce, and so
which people?
Women entered the workforce.
Women entered the workforce in mass in the 1970s.
Just one sec, guys.
God for feminism. I wouldn't be able to have a triple-digit body count and no kids. Population
Triple digit?
Question for the panel. Would you date a guy with 100 plus body count?
Show of hands if you would.
No, his ability to bond.
Yeah, because he's pre-selected. The one that are saying no is that they would, in my opinion, I think they would, because he's a pre-selected guy. They had to say no to appear that that's not the case.
Has been destroyed.
Yeah. Okay, she would. Nobody else. Oh, you would date a guy 100 plus
She's
body count?
dating a guy with 100 plus body count.
Can I ask?
Okay, continue on with your point.
So your husband's name is Andrew. Mm-hmm. So does he not want your daughters to go to college? He doesn't want them to go to college.
They haven't so far. They
haven't.
They've done. They've been homeschooled, and then they were able to do a little bit of trade school. Like one of them does dental assisting, the other one does culinary arts. Mm-hmm. Free education, no debt, something so they have a little job they can do until they get married, because the world is the way it is. I'm not saying I don't understand the situation we're in, but I think it's a horrible idea. 95% of women, they go to college, they get bullshit degrees and shit,
I'm just
like
gonna say
interior
this,
design,
95% of all people do not belong in college because they are mentally, well, I can't say the word, but they're not well. So the issue I think that she was bringing up when she was asking you about the rights is people don't understand that the minute there's a right, there's also a corresponding duty on somebody to enforce and allow that right. Mm-hmm. And so actually I think most rights are total BS, male and female, right? And I think you might have the idea that I'm in a prescription that somehow women should go back to being a second tier citizen or something, which I don't know that we were. I wasn't around in that time to say that we were. I don't necessarily agree that women shouldn't be educated, because if women are going to raise children, they should be intelligent enough to know how to raise those children and shouldn't raise morons. But I do think that there is a push on all fronts for everybody to go to college as if they need it. And this is just a Ponzi scheme.
Yeah.
To
I think
get as much money.
intelligence and education are completely separate from college and university.
Well, very interesting back and forward. I think sometimes a comedian lady jumps too much, throw her little jokes. That's what comedians do, I understand. But that back and forth between Rachel and the red one was very interesting because it's true. Majority of the college degree that a lot of females go, it has nothing to do with the infrastructure. Nothing to do with that. So if today 100% of females stop going to college, it will not change anything. Well, currently it would just, some of the colleges will just go out. That's for sure. But when it matters with the infrastructure, it will not be destroyed at all. Man, wow, what's up with her nose, man? What the hell? My God. Let me know what you guys think. I'll see you in the next one.